In the vast empire of ancient Persia, ruled by the mighty King Xerxes, the palace buzzed with wealth, power, and celebration. One day, the king held an extravagant feast to display the glory of his kingdom. But in the midst of the festivities, something unexpected happened. King Xerxes called for his queen Vashti, commanding her to appear before the guests. She refused. Her disobedience shocked the kingdom, and she was removed from her royal position. A search began for a new queen, someone who would step into a role far greater than she could ever imagine. Not far from the palace lived a young Jewish woman named Hadassah, known to the Persians as Esther. Orphaned as a child, she had been lovingly raised by her cousin, Mordecai, a man of integrity and deep faith. Esther was beautiful, but her true strength was her quiet humility and inner grace. When the king's officials searched for young women to bring into the palace, Esther was taken among them. She found favor immediately. After months of preparation, she was brought before King Xerxes, who was captivated by her. He placed the royal crown on her head and made her queen. A Jewish girl had now become royalty, yet her identity remained a secret, just as Mordecai had instructed. Meanwhile, life continued outside the palace walls. One day, Mordecai overheard two guards plotting to assassinate the king. Without hesitation, he warned Esther, who reported it in Mordecai's name. The plot was stopped, the king's life was spared, and the event was recorded in the royal Chronicles. But Mordecai received no reward, not yet. The moment was written, waiting for its purpose. Soon, a powerful man rose in the kingdom. Haman, a proud and ambitious official elevated above all others. Everyone bowed before him, everyone except Mordecai. Mordecai refused, not out of rebellion, but because he would not bow to any man. Haman's pride turned into fury, and his fury into something far darker. It wasn't enough for him to punish Mordecai alone. He wanted to destroy Mordecai's entire people. Haman convinced the king that the Jews were a threat to the kingdom, and a decree was issued. On a chosen day, every Jew in the empire would be destroyed. News of the decree spread like wildfire. Grief filled the Jewish communities. Mordecai tore his clothes and wept in the streets. He sent a message to Esther, urging her to go before the king and plead for her people. But Esther knew the danger she faced. Approaching the king without being summoned was punishable by death, even for the queen. She explained her fear to Mordecai. His answer became the turning point of her life. Who knows if you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this? Those words settled deeply in her heart. Esther asked Mordecai to gather the Jews to fast for 3 days, and she and her maidens would do the same. When the third day arrived, Esther put on her robes, standing tall despite her trembling heart, and walked toward the throne room. The vast chamber fell silent as she stepped inside. The king looked at her, paused, and then stretched out his golden scepter. Esther's life was spared. The king asked for her request. Instead of revealing everything at once, Esther invited the king and Haman to a banquet. The evening was calm, elegant, filled with unspoken tension. When the king again asked her what she desired, she simply invited them to a second banquet the next day. Haman left feeling honored until he saw Mordecai still refusing to bow. His rage consumed him. He ordered a massive gallows built, fully intending to hang Mordecai on it. But that night the king could not sleep. He called for the royal records to be read. As the Chronicles were opened, the story of Mordecai's loyalty was read aloud, the story of how he saved the king's life. The king asked if anything had been done to honor him. Nothing. At that moment, Haman entered the room, ready to suggest Mordecai's execution. Before he could speak, the king asked, "What should be done for someone the king wishes to honor?" Thinking the king was speaking about him, Haman suggested the highest honor, royal robes, the king's horse, and a grand parade proclaiming the man's greatness. The king nodded. "Go quickly. Do everything you have said." For Mordecai, Haman's heart dropped. He was forced to parade the man he despised through the city in honor. Broken and humiliated, Haman returned home, only to be summoned again, this time to Esther's second banquet. As the wine flowed and the atmosphere grew intense, the king asked Esther once more for her request. With courage rising inside her, Esther revealed her identity. "I am Jewish, and my people are to be destroyed," she pointed to Haman as the enemy behind the plot. The king was furious. In a moment of panic, Haman fell onto Esther's couch begging for mercy, but the king saw it as an assault. Haman was taken away and executed on the very gallows he built for Mordecai. Yet the danger remained. The original decree against the Jews could not be reversed. Esther again pleaded for her people, and the king allowed Mordecai to write a new decree, one that permitted the Jews to defend themselves against any who attacked them. When the appointed day arrived, the Jews stood strong throughout the empire and defeated their enemies. Their mourning turned into joy, sorrow into celebration, and the Feast of Purim was established to remember the great deliverance God had brought through Esther and Mordecai. And so, the story of Esther echoes through history as a reminder that courage can change destinies. Faith can silence fear, and ordinary people can become instruments of extraordinary purpose. Sometimes the place you never expected to be is exactly where God needs you. Sometimes we are placed where we are for such a time as this.